So, hey everybody, my name is Pursell. I'm out here in San Diego, California. Um, I would definitely consider myself an expert in the credit space, both on the funding and the credit repair side. So, like you mentioned, Credit Fundr is one of my businesses. If you look behind me, this is my new business. It's called Credit Sweepr. So, Credit Fundr is for business funding. That's for entrepreneurs who either need money to start a business or need funding to scale a business. And then Credit Sweepr is a good complement to that business because basically Credit Sweepr is our credit repair agency. So it kind of goes hand in hand, right? A lot of people that want to get funded, sometimes unfortunately don't have the strongest profile. So, we have everything in-house now, so we can, kind of take them through the whole process of getting their credit fixed, building their profile, so that way they are eligible and qualify for funding. And then ultimately the Credit Fundr, what that is basically we help clients get access to anywhere between $20,000 to $100,000 all at 0% via credit cards. So show them how to leverage their credit and get them into these 0% interest cards that then they can use for, like I said, either starting a business or scaling a business, and then not having to worry about that interest for 12 to 18 months. I mean, that's huge for any business owner starting off. So, it gives you a good year and a half to have a cushion of, no APR. That way, you can use the capital, get your return on it, and then, hopefully succeed from there.
So Credit Fundr was founded first, and then you found Credit Sweepr, right?
Correct.
So when was Credit Sweepr developed?
Literally within the last month and a half, 2 months. So, the reason why I started Credit Sweepr with my partner was because a lot of the clients that we were getting to Credit Fundr didn't qualify. So essentially, we were just outsourcing all those people to other credit repair agencies and basically, giving them the business to repair the credit, then to bring the client back to us once they're, they can qualify. So we decided it'd be a good option to, like I said, have everything in-house. That way you're still working with the same team from A to Z. And then it's a lot easier for us to be able to really sit with the client and develop their file and work with them one-on-one. And kind of, like I said, take them through the whole process of getting repaired and funding. Obviously, if they don't need the repair, then, that's not necessary. Sometimes we get a good amount of clients who do qualify, they have great scores, and then we can put them right to funding. But it ultimately just depends on what the person's goal is, right? If their goal isn't funding and they just want to get a better credit score to qualify for a better auto loan or mortgage loan, then, then obviously the credit repair agency is there to help them with that.
Something that really interests me is that, your business, or you as an entrepreneur, this business model, I have to say, isn't, credit scores and stuff like that isn't the sexiest thing out there, like compared to say like drop shipping or creating your own marketing agency, but it's still a good business model. Now, what made you become interested in credit cards and finances and stuff like?
Well, I would kind of beg to differ with you because, I don't necessarily push that part of credit, but there's a lot of people in this space that do. A lot of good friends of mine that focus more on like the lifestyle aspect of credit. So there is like a sexiness to credit, right? If you have good credit. So, with that, you could get into travel rewards and perks and travel hacking and, exotic car hacking. So there is a lot to credit that you can use for more of like the lifestyle type of stuff, right? Whatever it may be, like, if you're flexing or using it for marketing, like it's perfect for that too. So, but what got me into the credit space was, first and foremost, like I've always kind of had that type of information brought up like in my household, like, never really in detail, but, credit was always something that like my dad spoke to me about at a young age, that like it was important, right? He never really explained to me as much like as why, besides like, you can get a good loan, whether for like home and auto. But I think the difference between me is, there's a lot of people that grew up in a household where credit is more of like a negative connotation, right? Where maybe that parent had a bad experience and, credit cards are evil and stuff like that. So luckily I didn't come from that type of mindset. So that was already kind of instilled with me. But what really got me to start looking into credit, whether it be for the travel stuff, the funding, and, basically just leveraging it, was prior to this, I was in the medical marijuana industry out here in California. And that was prior to it going fully legal back in 2016. Before that, it was on like the medical side. So it was legal, but it was like a gray area type of thing where, obviously dispensaries and stuff like that existed, but it was in preparation for this new legal infrastructure. So when it did become legal, obviously I was excited. So I was like, all right, cool. Now I can go and apply for a permit, apply for all this, and, go through that process, right? Well, within going through that process, every city in California had a different law on how those type of businesses could operate. And what that did was really inflate the price of being able to participate in that market. So what I mean by that was, the permits started, going up for bid. People were buying them, people were reselling them. There's only certain parts of the city where you can actually rent, as far as like different zoning laws. And that obviously increased the value of those places that were eligible, right? So, it went from being something that was possible to being something, to me, like financially, like impossible. I'm like, damn, I got to get an investor who's willing to invest millions of dollars into this. So essentially, once that change happened, it kind of pushed me out of the market because I wasn't able to afford to participate anymore. So once that happened, obviously, then I'm like, okay, I got to figure something else out. I got to be, move on to the next thing or figure out the next business. And that's when I started looking at credit. It wasn't necessarily funding to begin with, but I had another business opportunity that was presented in front of me, and it was a $20,000 investment. And I was trying to figure out a way where I could invest into that business without using my own capital, right? Without using my own money that I had saved up. So I discovered funding. I discovered, hey, well, you can get credit cards that offer 0% for 12 to 18 months. So, if that 20K investment can break even within a year and a half, then essentially you were able to borrow that money for free, right? So that's how I discovered it. Was actually investing into something completely different and using my own credit as, the means to be able to invest into that. And then once I saw that there was a huge need for this in the market, there's a lot of people who want to become entrepreneurs, but don't have the money, right? That's the thing. That's a common thing that a lot of people face all the time, is they have these ideas that they want to, create and start on, but the first thing in their mind is like, shit, I don't have the money to be able to start that up. Maybe they have a job, or maybe they have other responsibilities, and maybe they don't have, $10,000 or $20,000 saved up. Maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck. Well, what can they do? So you have good credit, and you can use that to leverage into, 0% interest funding for your business, or you can use that to leverage into, travel hacking and, stuff like that. And there's a bunch of different ways you can make money through credit, right? Whether it be education, fixing credit, stuff like that. So that's really how I kind of even got in this space. It was really random.
I feel like, entrepreneurs nowadays, either they're drop shipping. Of course, you can create those businesses under maybe $200, but if say you want to have like your own startup or your own brick and mortar, if you have like your own Kickstarter campaign, you need an initial capital, because once the ball gets rolling, you have all these manufacturing costs, and, a lot of these things add up, and you need a couple of $1,000s, and, not all these people have that sort of fund. So it's important to have what you have, to have that credit where you have no APR, no interest fee. So in the long run, for any small business owner, that's really important. But let me get this straight. So Credit Fundr is for small businesses. So for 12 to 18 months, they don't get any interest, right? But for Credit Sweepr, is it for like the individual, for the person?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
it's for the individual. So, that just depends on their goal, right? If they end up wanting to do funding, then we have an outlet for that. If they just want to get their credit fixed, that way they can get a better interest rate on a car, I mean, that's great, right? So we help them out with that. So, like I said, they go hand in hand. You got to have good credit to be able to leverage yourself either into funding or whether into like, a car or a house. I mean, it's important, and I think it's just something that's not really stressed on enough growing up. We don't learn it in school or anything, right? So unfortunately, a lot of times we have to learn by experience, and for a lot of people, those weren't good experiences, so.
Yeah. So you said you took $20,000, you took the loan, and, it was a free way to borrow money, right?
Right.
And then you got into Credit Fundr with your business partner. Now, whose idea was it initially to start this business? Was it you?
Right. Yeah. So originally Credit Fundr, so I have two different partners. I have one partner for Credit Fundr and I have another partner for Credit Sweepr.
Okay.
I originally started Credit Fundr by myself. I was doing business by myself for, I don't know, 6 to 8 months or so prior to getting involved with my business partner. And yeah, once we got involved with each other, I mean, things kind of opened up. He has a huge influence in the business, in the credit space. If anybody knows Sean Sharma, that's my business partner for Credit Fundr. So yeah, he's definitely helped take, this idea and this company to the next level just by just being involved and kind of bringing some of his expertise to the table and really opening up his network to the company.
Yeah. And